men who are suspected terrorists, according to by all accounts, according to the different sources. And I've been trying to get somebody to come on with direct knowledge of this, but the sources are saying that there was enough chatter that became concerning to the feds, to the FBI, and those agents who were following them. So they're from Tajikistan. So they're not Tajikistanis. They're known as Tajiks. They have potential ties to ISIS. And so they were here in Philadelphia, in New York mostly operating on the East Coast. Like I said, one in Los Angeles. So we have the confirmation from ICE, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. That's who the task force called to say, hey, we don't have enough on these guys to charge them with terrorism, but there's enough that we're becoming concerned that we want them picked up. And so that's when these raids occurred. So they're facing illegal immigration charges. And Tajikistan, a country, and we've been talking about this, Central Asia, surrounded by Afghanistan, China, Uzbekistan, among others. And so these guys, according to sources, were already on the radar of the FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force. That's who was monitoring them for months. And so they have potential ties to ISIS. So they said that they arrested these individuals who they called non-citizens. They crossed our border illegally, southern border. And this also involved Department of Homeland Security, FBI, and like I say, the Joint Terrorism Task Force. So this is a potential terrorist cell. Nobody's wording it as strongly as I think they should. And why is that? Can you answer that? Why? 855-839-1210. Because the so-called mainstream media is not about to say, see, we told you so. We have millions of people, not from Mexico, coming here to work or a better life. We have millions of people flooding across this country. Let's think about this post-pandemic. So we have an economic crisis. We are coming off of COVID. Nobody's checking them for their vaccine cards. And so there's a piece of it that's infuriating. While many Americans fired from our jobs, intimidated, threatened, all of that we had to wear a mask and we had to get the COVID shot or we could not work and earn a living, etc. Businesses shut down, intimidation, all of that. But these individuals, we don't know where the heck they're coming from. They're coming across the border. And for all we know, they have 0 vaccinations. And God knows what diseases, right? Number one. Number two, we've talked about the human trafficking, the drugs, all of that. And yes, before you call, I understand that there is a market for it. And in the world, this is really sick to know this, but in the world, one of the greatest demands for human trafficking is right here in America. So we're talking about the sex trade, sex slavery, and sicko pedophiles. And by the way, little boys go for the most money. It's sick. And we here in America have the greatest worldwide demand, reportedly. So we have that going on. But in this case, if you're not concerned, you should be. Because I believe that Joe Biden has allowed terrorists to come into this country and plotting God knows what. And why? You say to yourself, well, come on, man, as Joe Biden would say. Why would Joe Biden think of the Delaware way? And he's a nice man, and we all knew him as a senator, and he seems like such a nice man. I've covered him for decades. I've covered him for years of my life as a very nice man. He was the Veep, had little friendship bracelets with Obama. Come on, Dawn. Why would Joe Biden want to put us in harm's way? Why would Joe Biden and his administration ever allow some of the world's most dangerous individuals to come into our country, just walk right over the border and live amongst us and plot against us. Why? I would say to you, it's because Biden, his administration, Democrats care more about winning elections and flooding blue areas that have lost population, flooding those blue areas and repopulating them with people who are going to vote Dem, who are going to vote blue, who are going to vote for Joe Biden and say, thanks, Joe, for letting me in. And now I have gift cards and I have all kinds of free stuff and free housing and free medical care and all of that. Thanks, Joe Biden. And so this, our safety, well, that's just collateral damage for the Dems to win. What a cost. You think about somebody just in your personal life who would open you or your children or your family up to danger. And I'm serious here. Who would put your kids, just take your kids and put them in a dangerous area and just leave them out to dry. Just leave them out vulnerable to some of the world's most dangerous people, suicide bombers, people who have technical knowledge to, shut down power grids or blow up buildings or prey upon people. Think about what these types of terrorists fairly recently, the terror they conducted in two different incidents. One in Russia killed 100 people. Another one, there was a suicide bombing, killed 95 people. So what in other parts of the world? So who would do such a thing? You think that person really cares about you or the issues that impact you and your family and your business? No. To me, this is one more example, a living example of the fact that this administration, and in particular Joe Biden, does not care about you or me or our safety or the safety of our children, our community, our family, let alone cares about our economic hardships. I mean, the Fed is going to meet later today. I've talked about that. They don't care. What they care about is winning. And if you want a further example, and I know we have this audio of Joe Biden speaking yesterday, but think about this. How do you, Joe Biden, after your son, your only living son, after this family, is sympathetic in the Biden family in the sense, and Hunter Biden is sympathetic in the sense of the tragedy that they have faced. Joe Biden's first wife was in a horrible car accident, and she was killed. Their daughter was killed. Their little girl was killed. Hunter was badly injured and was hospitalized, and his older brother, who now, Beau Biden, he tragically died of brain cancer. There are many people in this region who still believe Beau Biden was the better brother, the more successful brother, and would have been president someday, and was on that path, and he was beloved. So you think about a very sympathetic family, certainly. And to me, it would have been appropriate for President Joe Biden to address the issue of his son, how much he loves his son. But what did he do? He stayed on the campaign trail. He stayed on script and ironically gave this low energy speech that he gave talking about guns yesterday, right after his own son, his only living son, was convicted by a local Wilmington, Delaware jury on these federal gun charges. Really, one of them was about the gun. The other two were lying on a federal form. And the jurors, the ones who've spoken out, have said that they were very sympathetic. They felt they had no other choice. And like I say, one of the jurors even saying she felt this was a total waste. I agree. I wish that she would have said no. I go for jury nullification. I'm not going to vote guilty on this because this is a weaponized government. This is a trumped up charge, pun intended. I'm not going to be part of this kind of injustice. This is a waste of time and a waste of money. I wish she would have done that. I wish any one of them would have done it, and I wish the same would have happened in Manhattan, in New York, in the Trump trial, because both of these to me are an example of an injustice within our system. And Joe Biden standing up there and trying to give his trademark smile. He does have a great smile. The Bidens are handsome men, and Joe Biden up there giving those familiar, I call it low hanging fruit, as he talks about. We can air the audio if you want to air. Do we have the audio of a little bit of Biden? You want to give a taste of Joe Biden stumping, typical campaign speech, as he's talking about we need tougher gun laws. And so that's a piece of it. The reason that he did not speak out about his son buying a firearm, a handgun, and breaking the gun laws that Joe Biden believes in and helped create, the reason he did not do that, because he did not want to get called out for his hypocrisy and because of his stupid low-energy gun laws that he puts out there that I think are unconstitutional. And I look at that and I think, well, he doesn't even have compassion for his own son, really, and speak out for his own son. Do you think he cares about you or me? No. Is he going to pardon Hunter? Of course he is. Hunter's not going to go to jail for anything. But what was on display was this man, a partisan. This is the only career. This is his career. And he wants to win. And this is the Democrats on display. They will do anything, whether it's their own child or whether it's your child in danger, they will do anything to win. So beware. You are warned. 855-839-1210. We have so much in store with you. A great interview you're going to hear within less than 13 minutes. Dawn Show continues. 855-839-1210. Be right back.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-700-6898. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-700-6898. That's 800-700-6898. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898.
Seasons change. Why not your tech? Upgrade now during the Dell Technologies Summer Sale event and save on select PCs like the XPS 16 powered by Intel Core processors. You'll be able to bring your most intensive projects to life with built-in AI, minimalistic design, immersive visuals, and cinematic audio. When you shop online at Dell.com/deals, you'll have access to exceptional tech and electronics plus free shipping on everything. Amazing prices await you for a limited time only at Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals.
Is this house a good price compared to others in the area? Are prices going up or down? If I don't make an offer right this very moment, will I miss my chance? These are just some of the questions a home buyer might ask. And these are the sorts of questions an agent who is a Realtor can help answer. Because Realtors have the expertise, data, and access to specialty training to help you navigate the process of buying a home. They provide support, guidance, and have your back every step of the way. That's what Realtors do, because that's who we are. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head, and just over $30,000. That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask like 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. Optima Tax Relief. They're the best in the business.
Call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
For details, visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
We all know baseball is a long season. I'm Brett Boone from the Brett Boone Podcast. This summer, take a trip down memory lane with me and hear from the legends of the game. So far this year, I've had conversations with Randy Johnson, Pete Rose, Deion Sanders. Plus, every week we look at the state of Major League Baseball, which teams are exceeding expectations, which ones are struggling to meet them. Follow and listen to the Brett Boone Podcast on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Don't walk around with T-shirts and cover-ups at the pool or the beach this summer. Lose a contractually guaranteed 20 to 40-plus pounds in only 40 days with NJ Diet. That's nearly twice as fast as weight loss injections and without any of those nasty side effects. Lose weight the natural way quickly and safely. Locations close by or available worldwide with live online video consultations. Get slimmer before the summer and without any shots. Call 855-5NJ-DIET to lose 20 to 40-plus pounds in only 40 days. Guaranteed. NJDiet.com. Lose the weight for good.
Be sure to follow Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
By the way, if they want to think to take on government if we get out of line, which they're talking again about, well, guess what? They need F-15s. They don't need a rifle.
That's part of Joe Biden's speech, pandering to the crowd. Here's another clip of him talking about firearms.
Who in God's name needs a magazine which can hold 200 shells? Nobody, that's right. I remember when I was campaigning, when I was a senator, going through the wetlands of Delaware to meet all the people who were most upset with me, the fishermen and the hunters. And I came across a guy who was fishing, and he said, "You want to take my gun?" And I looked at him, I said, "Yeah, I don't want to take your gun. You're allowed to have a gun, but I want to take away your ability to use an assault weapon." And it, well, no, this is how the conversation went. He said, "What do you mean I need that gun?" I said, "Guess what? If you need 12 to 100 bullets in a gun, in a magazine, you're the lousiest shot I've ever heard."
So there he is, and he thinks he's, cracking the jokes, and the crowd loves him, and he's speaking yesterday at an event that was planned, but is speaking against guns, and that's the piece of this that I think Trump should seize upon. And I read you the Truth Social where the Trump campaign was reacting to this. I don't see actual audio or video of Trump speaking out in particular about this, but I will say it was a smart campaign released statement by Trump where they were saying, "Hunter, we wish you well. It's not about you. It's about Crooked Joe and the Biden crime family, etc." And so in that vein, if Trump came out and said, "You know what? I will pardon Hunter Biden. I will pardon him. And in fact, we want to change some of these ridiculous gun laws that put people who are first-time offenders, they've never been a violent offender. I want to change those types of gun laws and get people who are, and like I say, not privileged, not white, not with a last name of Biden, behind bars serving, mandatory minimum sentences." I think that would be a great look for Donald J. Trump. I've been saying it since this all happened, and I hope that happens. So there's another story of the Biden and Trump campaigns and where they're going. So rival fundraisers in London, because remember, Joe Biden now is leaving for the G7 Accord. And for those of you who joined me on our great conservative tours, remember Puglia, how beautiful it is? That's where the G7 is. I mean, these people are so lucky. They get to pick some of the most beautiful places in the world to have their summit, I say in air quotes. And then after the G7, by the way, Biden is going to hunker down at Camp David for an extended period of time so that he can prepare and get plenty of sleep and nappy nap time and all of that before the June debate, which is with Trump, which is 2 weeks away. But one of the headlines of this is CNBC, my sourcing, says that supporters of U.S. presidential candidates Donald Trump and Joe Biden will put their money where their mouths are at two rival fundraising events in London today. So Don Jr. and Brexit figurehead Nigel Farage are among those set to attend a huge biggity-big Republican event organized by former Australian soap star turned, they say, their words are right-wing political activist Holly valence. Because, of course, if anybody supports Trump, you are a right-wing crazy person. That's what that is, right? So this is going on in London. So Don Jr. and obviously the beautiful, fabulous Kimberly Guilfoyle, his fiancée, they are there at this huge fundraiser. So the fundraising is going quite well. And so that they're in London, in the UK. Isn't that interesting? And then we have another Democrat fundraiser as well for Joe Biden. So on either side, whoever you're looking at, they are raising tons of money, not only here, but also abroad. I think that plays into what's happening in the UK, in Europe, that they have the same type of situation. Now, you think about this. I talked about this earlier when this was all happening, that you have this red wave, if you will, a conservative wave that is going across European countries and the UK because they've seen the same type of crime issues that we are seeing here. And we have different people. So we have different people from countries. And I started out by talking about a majority Muslim country that is one of the poorest in this region, right? And these individuals they're not being, how can I say this? Their government is known for, in fact, not allowing them to celebrate their faith as a Muslim. In other words, with different bans on their traditions. And so you have these young people in their country who are not spiritually fed, if you will. And so it's not really about being able to express your religious freedom, but rather oppressive governments that are activating individuals, holding them down and not letting them express and really express their religious rights in their faith, but rather activating them in a more militant way. And this is one of the poorest nations in the world. You think about that combination, these young men coming to this country, and they're angry, they're hungry, literally hungry, and they're spiritually hungry. They've been activated, if you will, in a militant situation by their government, by what's going on. And now they're here, and they're allowed here by President Joe Biden. This is what's happening abroad as people realize who has been allowed to come in, legally allowed in these countries. So they don't call it illegals in those countries. They've made it legal and welcome. And that's an important piece of this. Here in our country, look at the way this is being reported, and nobody's saying the quiet part out loud. Joe Biden, why would you let dangerous terrorists come into our country? Why would you allow it? He did, and he is. And this is the tip of the iceberg. And Christopher Wray has told us this. Hello? Wake up, America. 855-839-1210, the number to call. We have a great guest, so I want to stay, and we're going to talk with a legal expert and prosecutor around the corner. So we'll have that interview move you forward as far as the House vote. Will the House vote to hold Merrick Garland in contempt? And as far as Steve Bannon, because, they want to put him in jail for contempt of Congress. So he's now trying to put that off as he appeals. So we do have Trump news as well, local news as well. Dawn Show's going to take a quick break. Great guest right around the corner.
This is Larry Steinhaus with Investor Schooling. Are you ready for retirement? Have you prepared everything you need? Well, in Investor Schooling, we will teach you ways to better prepare for your retirement using real estate and the stock market. But you need to learn how to do it right, and that's what we teach. At Investor Schooling, we sell nothing but education. Come to Investor Schooling and learn how to have a better retirement. Go to investorschooling.com and RSVP right now for this Thursday's class at 7 o'clock. Go to investorschooling.com. That's investorschooling.com. This This is Larry Steinitz with Investor Schooling. Are you tired of hearing about the recession that's coming? Are you prepared for it? Well, listen, at investorschooling.com, we're going to teach you ways to prepare for the recession that you didn't even know existed. We're going to teach you strategies on how to use real estate. We're going to teach you strategies how to use the stock market properly. That's right, you can even make money in the stock market when the stock market goes down. Hey, go to investorschooling.com and register for a free class this Thursday night, and you will learn all of these techniques. Go to investorschooling.com right now, RSVP for this Thursday. We'll see you there.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-688-6641. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call
800-688-6641. That's 800-688-6641.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Introducing the Honickman Center at Jefferson Health. Outpatient care designed by patients like you. Together, we're shaping the future of medicine, where advanced technology and comprehensive services ensure convenience and accessibility for all patients. Everything you need to simplify the complexity of care is available in one location. Uncompromising care delivered by world-class physicians. To schedule an appointment, call 1-800-JEFF-NOW.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. I've told you over the years about Dr. Bentz and all the infrastructure he has there, but one thing that he does that you don't see in too many dental offices, with Dr. Bentz, my dentist, whether it's a routine visit or a comprehensive, multifaceted process, he and his team sit down with you, they create a clear plan, explain it step by step. You will see the Bentz difference with that. Contact BentzDentalGroup.com or call 610-272-6949.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies, because when people don't have to worry about where their next meal is coming from, they can truly thrive, like Marta.
And now we'll hear from our class valedictorian, who with our hard work never ceases to amaze us. Please welcome Marta Moreno.
And Alex.
Hey, Alex, how did the interview go?
I did it! I got the job! I can't believe it!
I knew it. Let's meet up later to celebrate.
And Diego.
Mom! I got first place at the science fair with my volcano project.
That's amazing, sweetie. Congratulations.
Because when people are fed, futures are nourished, and everyone deserves to live a full life. Join the movement to end hunger at feedingamerica.org/actnow. feedingamerica.org/actnow. A public service announcement brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Hey, Riverton. We know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
So up ahead, we will get into Paul Ryan. Remember him from Wisconsin? What's he slamming Trump about? That's making headlines. The Trump rant about shark attacks and how Democrats love that one. And then more Trump reaction, of course, to what's going on in the headlines with regard to Joe Biden. Let's bring in my next guest, who needs no introduction, Jorge Vela, joining me this morning. Jorge, thanks for coming in this morning, and just to talk about the Hunter Biden verdict, to talk about what's going on with these 8 illegals in this country that are alleged terrorists and in the Philadelphia region, but also New York, Los Angeles, the concern. I mean, I know that you've practiced law, obviously, in Texas, but it affects, as you've said, you know, every city, every state is now a border town. Jorge Vela, thank you so much. Criminal defense attorney and former federal prosecutor of Vela Law Criminal Defense. Thanks for joining me this morning.
Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. First of all, your reaction to the Hunter Biden verdict in Wilmington, Delaware yesterday.
The more and more I heard the public reports as the trial progressed, the less and less surprise I felt that a guilty verdict was going to come down. I'll start by saying this. As a former federal prosecutor, the way that the feds charge Hunter Biden under this specific statute of lying on this form is rare. When I was a prosecutor, this charge was normally reserved for what we call straw purchasers. These are individuals that would go into legal gun shops that had the right to buy the firearm, but on that form, they would lie and say they were purchasing the firearm or large caliber rifle for themselves, when in fact, evidence later showed that they were trying to funnel those weapons across the border to Mexico. That's really what we focused on the border. That was the most pressing issue. We never used this type of allegation claiming that somebody lied on the form, saying that they were not a drug addict, because it's a very difficult charge to prove, and it wasn't our primary focus. We were focused on violent Mexican drug cartels, and that's true across all of the districts, the federal districts across the United States. It's a rare way to charge him. Now, as I listened to these reports throughout the trial of Hunter's own words in his memoir, of testimony from his ex-girlfriends, I mean, there was a mountain of evidence that he was still suffering from drug addiction when he purchased his firearm. And so I think that the prosecutors had a strong case against him.
And as far as this situation with these 8 foreign nationals illegally crossing the southern border within the past year, now with suspected ties to ISIS, arrested during these raids, they were actually arrested over the weekend. That's when the raids took place, and it was announced yesterday afternoon. Philadelphia, New York, Los Angeles, and the thought process here of what Christopher Wray has warned us about, that yes, this open border has opened all of us up to being vulnerable to these terrorists coming in.
Yeah, so, when I could speak on my time working along that border. I mean, a large majority of my time was actually dedicated to apprehending and prosecuting individuals for illegal reentry. But rarely did we ever catch or prosecute alleged terrorists crossing at least in the Laredo Division for the 3 years that I was there. It was mostly individuals that had come into this country illegally, committed a felony offense, were sentenced to significant time, deported, and then chose to come back. Those were the individuals we focused on, criminals. The 8 that were apprehended through these raids, I don't have enough information to know whether they came through the Mexico border or not. But my experience as a U.S. attorney and then as a defense attorney now in these federal cases is that a lot of times they come in through legal means, through valid visas, and then they overstay their visa, or they come as refugees or asylums. Whether or not they cross the border illegally, I don't have that information. I can say, though, that it was rare, if at all, that we see them cross. Someone with ties to terrorism would cross illegally like that.
Because they just fly in?
Yeah, they usually come through legal means, right? They come through some type of asylum process, refugee process. They come, if we're talking about terrorist organizations, people have to understand that these organizations have the resources to invest in getting these individuals over here legally. I mean, to cross the border illegally, to pay a coyote, we're talking $20,000 to $30,000 sometimes. And so there's no sense in sending someone with terrorist ties through the Mexico border. That's rare for a terrorist to cross illegally. Usually these terrorists are coming through legal immigration channels and then potentially overstaying their visits, or they're committing these, terrorist-related offenses or communications while they're here legally on a visa or something like that.
Yeah, in this case, I think what people are, connecting the dots on is that it was just in March that the FBI director, Chris Wray, warns that Senate Intelligence Committee of, the fact that they had a human smuggling operation with ties to terrorism, affiliated organizations, and that they had been assisting migrants in illegally crossing into the country. So we had that happen with March, in March, with conversations about, terrorists, human trafficking, all of it kind of goes together. And then in this one, the sources on this one, law enforcement sources at the federal level, are by all accounts saying that there's this increasing alarm about the rise of people coming from these Central Asian based, ISIS activated countries, if you will. And you think of this one in particular, this is, I think, one of or the poorest in that part of the world, one of the poorest countries. And so then there's this vulnerability, then they're coming in. So they've confirmed that they crossed illegally in the border, that they were vetted at the time. Nothing showed up. The feds, got wind of it and had been following them for months. So that part we have confirmed, but we don't have their identities, and they're not charged with terrorism. It's important to say that. They're not being charged with terrorism. They're being charged with illegally coming into the country. Those are the charges.
Got it. So here's what I will say as a former federal prosecutor and then keeping up as a defense attorney with illegal immigration, illegal crossings, and things like that. I think that people have this unfounded fear that we have terrorists coming from terrorist-linked countries through the Mexico border and crossing illegally. That is extremely rare, if it exists at all. Again, they come in through legal channels, and like you said, potentially are lying to immigration officials about their ties to terrorist organizations or even their identity in order to get in through legal channels. And so, I think that fear that is being raised by Republicans or Donald Trump that they're coming through the border illegally is unfounded. That there's no basis for that. If it happens, it's extremely rare. What I think needs to be focused on more, you mentioned these human trafficking organizations and ties to terrorists. People, when they hear the word terrorists, are fearful. But people need to know that the real, we debate whether or not I use these words with them, but the real terrorists are these Mexican, we call them drug cartels, but they are enterprises now. They are criminal enterprises. They have their hands in everything, including alien smuggling. That's their most profitable, lucrative business right now. It's not drug smuggling. And so when people are actually worried about, I think that the fear that a terrorist is going to come illegal through Mexico is not what people should be worried about. It's these criminal enterprises that have now infiltrated their fingers in Mexican politics, have their fingers in everything from legal visa processes to even growing avocados. They are now enterprises. They shouldn't be referenced as drug cartels anymore. They should be referenced as criminal enterprises. And they have their hands in these alien smuggling attempts that we currently see at the border.
Yeah, I think that's a great statement by you, because if you think about it, it's, back in the day, I know in America we love to talk about, the Godfather, the organized crime, the mafia, but I think this is a new era and a whole new level of organized crime. Isn't it just organized crime?
Absolutely. And the reason I agree with you when you say that is because I think, look at the amount of politicians that were killed in the last election cycle in Mexico. All you have to do is Google it. There were over 100 candidates. I don't know the exact number, but there were a large number of candidates that were killed while running for elections. Imagine in the United States, if you will, we had evidence that even one local politician was killed by a drug gang running for mayor of a big city like Los Angeles or even a smaller city, Sacramento, choose whatever city you want in the United States. There would be national, international attention on this. In Mexico, it is a daily occurrence during the campaigns that we have politicians that are killed. It shows how dangerous it is to go against the drug cartels if you are a politician. When you talk about organized crime, they control politics in Mexico through fear, through bribery. They have their tentacles in every asset of the government in Mexico right now. And so to root out corruption, I don't even know where to start.
Yeah.
I don't know where to start.
But doesn't it make sense when you think about lawlessness and people who have no morality, no ethics, and are extremely violent and volatile? And I think of that statement by the FBI director, Chris Wray, who did warn of the indications of human smuggling operations, organized crime with ties to terrorism, affiliated officials. So it almost seems like they're saying, oh, well, hey, you guys, here are some new recruits. Come with us. Is that what's happening?
So you bring up an interesting point, and it's something, I don't know if this is answering your question, but I think it's something for people to think about. We think about terrorists, and we think about these violent Mexican drug enterprises, these criminal enterprises. When we think about terrorists, we imagine individuals coming over to these countries to commit acts of violence in the name of religion or national pride or retribution for the actions of the United States military. There is an ideal that they are allegedly fighting for, right? Not defending them whatsoever at all, not saying it's okay, but they are at least fighting for some kind of greater purpose. When we think about the criminal enterprises in Mexico that are in charge of alien smuggling, drugs, and everything like that, they have one purpose: money. That's it. All these deaths that are occurring, all this violence that's occurring, it's for money. Not a specific ideal, not for some religion, not for some higher purpose. I would argue that if we're going back and forth about terrorists and criminal enterprises, I think that the more nefarious, the more dark organizations are these criminal enterprises in Mexico.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it also makes me think as I read more about Tajikistan, and when have we lately had a conversation about this part of the world? But what it makes me think about, Jorge, is worldwide, post-pandemic, we have all of these young people looking for purpose. Here in America, they're looking into their smartphone, and there's a mental health crisis. There's an obesity crisis. There are all these crises, right? And they're trying to find a purpose, and they're even on college campuses erupting with some of these protests, and they don't even understand what they're protesting for. That's in the U.S. In places like Tajikistan, where it's an extremely poor place, where you have an oppressive government, you have these young people. I saw that the New York Times had reported that ISIS draws more than half of its recruits from Tajikistan. And so it's no mistake to me that these are the individuals, the eights, because maybe they are activated with this lawlessness. Maybe they work for ISIS, but they come in under the cartels and organized crime, work with them. And so now is this a new gateway, if you will, a new gateway for terrorist organizations to get some of their young men who are activated, who they can control, to now say, hey, you're going to work for these people in organized crime. That's how they get a gateway into this country. I'm just trying to, because of what you said, Jorge, I'm just trying to figure out why this is happening, because in my news reporting career, this is rare, as you said, for terrorists to come across the border with all the other folks, because they usually have bundles of cash. So I'm just trying to think, all right, is this the gateway by which ISIS can get these guys to come in with the cartels? Then once they're here and they're human trafficking and drug, whatever else they're doing, but then ISIS has them in place so they can do other things. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I understand everybody's concern. There is a fear, and it is a valid fear, with everything that's going on in the world, with the troubles that are going on in the Middle East, that might come over and fall on our domestic soil, a terrorist attack or some kind of organization infiltrating the United States and working from here. I think that is a valid fear, given that everything that's going on in the world. But, you talk about the reasons, right? There is an overarching pattern of these organizations and what we are seeing now with domestic terrorism, right? With extremists, when we talk about school shootings or anything like that. All of these have the same pattern. It's people preying on disadvantaged or desperate people. And it's something that you just brought up, referring back to that country, is that they are preying on the desperation of these people, the poverty of these people, and making them feel like they have no other choice, and then trying to give them a greater purpose. It's the same thing that we see with these lone wolf attacks, right? They're looking for a greater purpose. They feel like they're in solitude, that they have no one to turn to. There is an overarching theme here, and it's basically loneliness and desperation, solitude, and it's about the lack of human connection, really. I mean, like, if you want to talk about an overarching theme and all these domestic or international terrorism things, I mean, you could argue that it is basically people preying on these desperate people.
Yeah, and that's, as I read more about Tajikistan, that's part of what I'm thinking about is, this very poor country, people, the level of hunger, and anger. You think about all of that. So I appreciate your insights, and I'm just really, I just was researching this, and I just wanted to put that out to you and just see your reaction. And I love your analysis on it. Is at some point, Jorge, do we have to just push the reset button? Is it just me, or I just feel like locally covering the Wilmington, Delaware trial, Hunter Biden there, not filling out a form. On the other side, Manhattan, Donald J. Trump, and both of them, these things go back. I mean, Hunter Biden, it was 2018, the form, and with Trump going way back when. I just feel that this is not justice, particularly at a time when, here in Philadelphia, I'll tell you, I come into work in the dark. I drive into the city. I run red lights. I run stop signs. Sometimes I get a $100 fine for running a red light. But if there's a guy with a mask and a hoodie on the corner, I'm going to slowly roll through. We have crime that we've never seen. And I've worked in Chicago, New York, Philadelphia, Miami, other cities across. We've never seen this. To me, I feel that we need a reset button and to put our efforts and our focus on keeping our people safe. And with all we hear in the headlines are, things like nonviolent criminals, alleged criminals, or nonviolent individuals like Hunter Biden or DJT, and that's what they're spending literally millions of dollars to put them on trial.
Yes, I think people feel that they have become less safe in this country. And regardless of the statistics, those feelings need to be validated because they are coming from somewhere, whether it's through media reports, through politicians claiming that you are less safe. If Americans are feeling that way, you shouldn't tell them you are wrong, crime is going down. The feelings should be validated, and I agree with you. I think that there should be a more concerted effort to focus on violent crime. I also agree with you that these prosecutions against people in the public sphere sometimes lead to dangerous outcomes when politicians use them in order to try for political purposes. Like, for example, Donald Trump alleging that the criminal justice system is being weaponized for political purpose. It erodes faith in the criminal justice system and by default, one of the fundamental tenets of our democracy and the democratic system itself. As a lawyer, it's disheartening to see people attack, especially Donald Trump after his conviction, the DOJ, the criminal justice system in general, because if you do that, you are attacking one of the pillars of our democracy, one of the branches of our democracy, and it erodes faith in democracy. And it's already waning. Faith in our democracy is already waning. I think that President Biden has reacted well. He said a pardon is out of the question for his son. He respects the DOJ. That is the proper reaction from a president, former president, or politician. The DOJ, the Department of Justice, is a separate entity. It needs to be treated as so. I think Merrick Garland has acted with class in responding to all the attacks. And I think President Biden has reacted. He should be given credit. The way he reacted after his son was convicted, he said he loves his son, but he respects the DOJ's decision and will remain out of that. That's how a reaction should be. You talk about a reset button. I think politicians' reactions to these convictions matter. And so
you think that Joe Biden, if his son, and you think about what's going to happen next fall. So next fall, he'll be sentenced, and right around within a month or so, we have the trial beginning. It's the more serious one on the IRS and allegations of not paying millions of dollars, reporting millions in income, etc. But you think that if Hunter Biden, if he's convicted in the second trial and then they sentence him to prison time, some of them mandatory minimums then in federal prison, you don't think Joe Biden is going to pardon? Do you really believe that he's not going to pardon his son?
I don't believe he's going to pardon his son.
He's going to pardon his son. He's going to pardon his son.
I think a lot of people agree with me. And here's the kicker, is that if he does, he will let so many people down that I think it'll cost him the election. I think that if he surprises us by doing that, he plays right into the hands of Donald Trump. He's no different.
Oh, no, I think he'll wait until after. I think he'll wait till November 6th. I don't think he'll do it. I don't think he'll do it before November 5th. But I think he will.
You bring an interesting point.
He will pardon
you bring
his
up an
son.
interesting point. And, if he were to lose the election, potentially he has nothing, at that point to lose but to pardon his son. And so, If he were to lose the election, I can see that happening. But I think if he were to win the election, I think potentially maybe he would wait till a second term. But I think that Hunter Biden is going to be sentenced by this federal court. He's not going to be granted an appeal bond. He's going to start serving the sentence before the next, once he is sentenced on this federal case. I think that the federal judge, they know they're under the limelight and that they're going to treat Hunter Biden just like any other defendant. I don't think he's going to be receiving any favors.
Jorge Vela, I'm up against a tough break, and I'll disagree, but I always appreciate the conversation. Thank you so much, Jorge. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I will give my thoughts on that and take your thoughts as well. Obviously, as you know, I disagree. I disagree on pretty much the last 5 things he said, because I do believe that we've seen the weaponization. I've covered it personally. I've seen it with Mark Houck, for example. And yes, I think that Manhattan trial happening right before an election, yes, you know this. I think that it's weaponized. But he represents a whole lot of people in the country. I want to have the conversation. You know me. This is the Dawn Show. You could get mad at me for trying to give you all thoughts and all of the different sides of the story. But that's really what I believe my job is. And I wouldn't be fulfilling my duty to you. So this is the Dawn Show at Dawn Stensland, 855-839-1210. And we have a lot more breaking, a lot more developing, taking your calls as well. Be right back.
If it's been a minute since you've considered an Infiniti, now's the time to check out the Bush Auto Group. At Bush Infiniti of Westchester, we have exceptional offers just for you. Enjoy rates as low as 4.9% for 36 months on Infiniti certified pre-owned vehicles. Plus, every new Infiniti comes with 3 years free maintenance. Don't wait. Visit in-store today at Bush Infiniti of Westchester or online at infinityofwestchester.com. Philly rides with us.
This is a test of the emergency alert system. This has been a test of the emergency alert system.
Tune in to Crash Proof Retirement Show, Saturdays at 11 a.m. to hear Phil Cannella and Joanne Small. The Crash Proof Retirement Show, Saturday mornings at 11 on Talk Radio 1210.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. The NBA Finals are finally here, and FanDuel, in partnership with Valley Forge Casino, is giving you the chance to win alongside the champions. Because right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets with a winning $5 bet. That's $200 you can use on same-game parlays, live bets, and so much more. And there's no better place to bet the finals action than America's #1 sportsbook. Just go to FanDuel.com/Dom to get started. Take a shot at an extra $200. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. FanDuel Sportsbook is the official partner of 1210 WPHT. You have to be 21 plus, present in Pennsylvania. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? 1-800-GAMBLER.
Chronic pain, cancer, fatigue. Find out about the benefits of medical hydration therapy on Health Watch with Dr. Molly Fantasia every Sunday morning at 8 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Pain in your knees, shoulders, hips, or back that won't go away? Check out QC Kinetics. No surgery, drugs, or downtime. QC Kinetics. 215-999-3000.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call
800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Hey, it's Rich Zioli. I know that with this economy, summer vacation may seem a bit unaffordable this year, but I still want you to make those summer memories with the kids. You gotta do it, right? Summer vacation. And my happy place, the Grand Hotel of Cape May, makes it easy and affordable. Book a June midweek stay, and you will receive resort credits. That's right, they're gonna give you money to spend at the resort. Now, they have 2 gigantic pools, including a heated indoor pool, and you will love the food at Hemingway's restaurant. And you're gonna love using their resort credits on site. For example, you stay a week, you're gonna get $70 a night back in resort credits to use. And you can use them how you want to use them. And the Grand Hotel offers guest rooms, suites, and townhomes equipped with a kitchenette. So you get the best of both worlds. It's like renting a shore home, but with all the amenities of a full-service resort. And you don't have to pack the sheets and the towels. You enjoy the convenience of a private kitchenette, refrigerator, and housekeeping. Book direct with them for the best rates to get your resort credits. Book your stay at 800-257-8550 or visit them online at grandhotelcapemay.com. They will sell out this summer. grandhotelcapemay.com.
My dad loves Philly sports, and I need a Father's Day gift.
Tickets to see Joe Conklin are the perfect Father's Day gift.
Oh, my goodness. It was absolutely wonderful. All the voices and the singing.
And just seeing my dad, seeing the look on my dad's face.
Just the mix of the comedy and the singing. You never knew which way they were going to go with it.
See Joe Conklin with the City Rhythm Orchestra at Wildwood Catholic Academy in North Wildwood, Saturday, June 29. And at the Ocean City Music Pier in Ocean City, New Jersey on Saturday, July 13th. For tickets, go to joeconklin.com. JoeConklin.com!
Get slimmer for the summer by losing a contractually guaranteed 20 to 40 plus pounds in only 40 days with NJ Diet. Call 855-5NJ-DIET or go to njdiet.com. Get ready for spring with njdiet.com.
This is Dr. Marianne Ritchie. Tune in to Your Radio Doctor every Saturday afternoon at 5 here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT for the latest healthcare news and information, because your health is your wealth. That's Your Radio Doctor, Saturdays at 5.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-700-6898. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-700-6898. That's 800-700-6898 for $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-403-5569 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-403-5569. That's 800-403-5569. What do you have to lose? Call 800-403-5569. Again, 800-403-5569.
Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Live and local from Philadelphia. The Dawn Stensland Show on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
Trigger warning. I know I've triggered you, and I'm not done. What do you hear, Paul Ryan? This on a day the consumer prices rose 3.3% in May. So this data will be considered as the Fed meets. Talking about the Federal Reserve, the policymakers meeting this afternoon, and they will certainly make these announcements. It's expected that inflation is sticking at this level above their 2% target. What does that mean? The Fed is expected to announce that they're only going to cut rates maybe once, maybe twice by the year's end. So what does that mean? Maybe they'll start cutting these rates maybe once before the November 5th election. And so this is not great news for home buyers, for consumers, or for Joe Biden, because inflation is sticking. It's all about the economy. Stupid. I know that my last guest, Jorge Vela, who's a federal prosecutor and now defense attorney in Texas, I know that he triggered you. I disagree with him. You disagree with him, but it's important. What he says is important to understand and unpack, and that's why I bring it all. I do. We'll hear from Paul Ryan. We've got Trump news. We've got so much happening on Capitol Hill locally as well. 855-839-1210. Greg is in the Northeast. Hey, Greg.
Hello, Dawn. How you doing?
Good.
There's no doubt. When I was listening to the whole interview, I said, this guy's a lefty from the get-go. There's no doubt. And I'm like, I'm just going to let it go until, because I know you knew it, and you know him, and you started to press him, and then you cornered him. You did it beautifully, by the way. That was bad. You should have been a trial lawyer. you got his attention. You got him to feel comfortable with you, and then you just went in for in your kind way. You went in for the kill, and then as soon as he said homegrown extremist, I was like, oh, here we go. Dawn's got him now. I was like, but he didn't even address. I mean, he makes great points. We all know the points that these cartels and these drug guys are legit business people now.
Yeah.
But I'm not even angry at that is.
Oh no!
To allow him to walk through.
Yeah. Right. Greg, we're losing.
This is crazy.
It is. It is crazy.
Can you hear me now?
Yep. You potted out for just a minute.
Yeah, we're allowing, as a government in a country, we're allowing people to come in and not even be checked. And then after it was maybe 6-8 months, the Border Patrol saw that it was single military-aged males, perfectly healthy, tattooed up and inked up, and they know these guys were up to no good no matter what country they were from. There was very few families. So I'm more annoyed at that than that character you just had on, even though we know he's a lefty. But you did a good job, Dawn.
Thank you, Greg.
And everybody else sniffed him out, too. As soon as he said homegrown extremist, I was crashed.
Well, and also, did you notice when he said, and that's a talking point, when he said, well, if you don't feel safe where you are, remember, did you catch that one?
Oh, yeah.
If you don't feel safe, are you kidding me?
There was 5 of them, there was 4 or 5 of them. Every time you gave an example of not being safe.
Yes.
He countered it with a softening blow. Yeah. No, when she throws it out, you come in with the haymaker. You don't throw a softer shot at him. No. I was like, this guy is he doesn't want reality.
Yes.
He wants to talk as if he's a realist.
Yes.
But he really does not want to push the issue. So.
Yeah. Thank you, Greg.
See.
Thank you, Greg. I appreciate you. I lost him again. It's important to me, first of all, because Jorge Vela, and you've heard me interview him once or twice before, and on some of the immigration issues, because he's in Texas as a former prosecutor, now defense attorney, you would agree with him on the issues. But the point here is that he's a very nice, very well-educated person. I don't think he's a hateful person. I don't want to hate on anybody. I don't want to name call anybody. I think it's important to have a conversation and to understand that maybe half the country feels a certain way or really believes that that DOJ is not weaponized or could not be. And once you see it or once you feel it, then your eyes are opened, right? And so in my career as a news reporter, and I'm real with you, I thought anybody and everybody in law enforcement, they're all good. And of course, you must believe if a prosecutor comes out or this or that. And for the most part, they are good. But we have seen how they can be weaponized. And by the way, now we see the whistleblowers at the IRS and different federal departments and what this administration in particular has done to them to harass and threaten them, etc. But that's what we want to root out, because it's cruel to do to somebody who got into law enforcement and now they're being used as essentially a guard dog for partisan career swamp politicians. So we don't want that. We want to protect our law enforcement officers, and as well, yes, when they always say protect democracy, protect the republic, right? But I really believe in my heart, as I go through it and I learn more about what's going on, evil attracts evil. And so if you have these members of organized crime, and you talked about the avocados, I think we talked about that within the last year or so, but you have a new era, if you will, of the Godfather, of the mafia, of organized crime, and it's at a whole new level, right? Gangs, drugs, but mostly human trafficking. Why human trafficking? Because in human trafficking, unlike a drug, and this is really sick, I understand, unlike a drug that's consumed and gone, no. You have a product, especially if that product is a child, who you have for many years, maybe a decade, maybe more. Maybe you sell them off after they're used goods and now they're 17 and they're sold off into another layer of prostitution, what have you. I mean, it's really sick, but you're using that same product over and over and over, and multiple times in a day, a week, a year. And that's the sick piece of it, right? But now you have these organized criminals, and they're operating in America and over the southern and northern borders. But now think if you're a terrorist organization and you want to commit terror in the country, well, why not team up with these evil individuals and human traffickers, help them out, get some of your recruits, because maybe they need some young, healthy males who will do anything you tell them to. But now they're in place. They're in places like Philadelphia, New York, wherever across the country, working for the cartels in the organized crime situation. And now you in ISIS, etc., now you can activate one of your individuals and also have them working on, a sidebar project, like blowing things up. And also things like, well, we've seen them, even suicide bombings. So this is nothing to play with, but remember what Chris Wray said this month. What was it, last week, when the FBI director noted this is happening? He noted that, in fact, we have terrorists now who've come into this country and these cells, and they're working with the human traffickers in the cartels. Oh, great. So now evil is teaming up with evil. What else could possibly go wrong? This is America. Welcome in. I want to listen real quick, since I haven't triggered you enough this morning. Remember Paul Ryan? And he resigned. Well, now he's speaking out. I saw it yesterday. I was like, oh, Paul Ryan. But let's listen in. This is Paul Ryan speaking out. You're not going to like it, but here he is.
Strong. Yeah, that's the way I feel. I agree with that. I don't support Biden either. I think his policies are terrible. I hate the fact that I feel like I got to write in a Republican like I did the last time in 2020. I voted for him in 2016, hoping that there was going to be a different kind of person in office. And I do think character is a really important issue. If you put yourself above the Constitution, as he has done.
But what happened?
I think that makes you unfit for office.
Was it the whole January 6th thing?
That's a part of it. I think it's a contribution of factors, but I think it really is just character at the end of the day. And the fact that if you're willing to put yourself above the Constitution, an oath you swear when you take office, in federal office, whether it's president or a member of Congress, you swear an oath to the Constitution. And if you're willing to suborn it to yourself, I think that makes you unfit for office.
Does it?
Unfit for office. The thing about Donald J. Trump, did he put himself above the Constitution? When he left the White House with Melania? When did he put himself above? When he gave up his billionaire wealth, multi-billionaire status and lifestyle, and went on to be president and bring us peace and prosperity? When, Paul Ryan? So that's former Republican House Speaker Paul Ryan. He's getting ripped, as you can imagine. He really tore into former President Donald Trump. I'm disappointed that he did. Of course, it's always with Cavuto on Fox. says he won't be voting for Trump. And you heard him say he'll write in somebody else. Good for you. Good for you. Paul Ryan is calling out his lack of character and principles and said that Trump, you can't put yourself above the Constitution. Well, you know what? I think that career politicians who just won't get out of, I mean, good for Paul Ryan. I'm glad he left office, quite frankly. But I think that if you really look at actions that speak louder than words, then let's think about all the career politicians through their actions. If you want to say they put themselves above us, because he's talking about the Constitution, but really it's about the people. We the people. That's what it's about. I mean, I tease my birthday's upcoming this Saturday, and I call it Magna Carta Day because the Magna Carta is the prequel to our Constitution. But the Constitution is a critical piece of, it's a piece of paper. It's a doctrine of our republic, right? What we stand for. But really, it's about us. We the people, we, you, me, we are the government, legal citizens of the United States of America. And that's why I get angry when I hear about non-citizens allegedly voting. I don't like that. I think that's a violation, and it's an insult to people like you and me. But when he says, when you put yourself above the Constitution, like he's Mr. Constitution, I'm just saying, well, let's look at people on a base level who put themselves above the people, we the people. And that's why I called out Joe Biden at the beginning of this program. And I call Joe Biden out every day because I think that Joe Biden is putting Joe Biden ahead of the people, our needs, our basic safety, our basic, my goodness, the staples of just trying to live and feed our families and get transportation and be safe, not feel safe, but the number one thing I think that a president and our government and that structure can bring to us is to keep us safe. They have failed. They should be fired. All of them. We are not safe. We're not safe in cities. We're not safe because of the border everywhere across the country, whether it's on the national level with terrorists or whether it's these thugs driving around and whether they're breaking into businesses, burglarizing, carjacking. It's ridiculous. So to me, these career politicians, these partisans are putting themselves above the needs and the safety of we the people. So get out of here, Paul Ryan. Just shut it. Seriously. I didn't need to hear from him, and what a disappointment. I'm really sorry that he spoke out. What did you do there? It's all about you. What is he selling, a book? The Dawn Show continues right after this.
Congressman Byron Donalds, the man himself. Any comments on Biden's executive action on the border?
The man is gaslighting the American people. The reason Joe Biden is doing this is because his poll numbers suck. Let's just call it exactly what it is. Don't mince words. His poll numbers suck because he sucks as a president. He's terrible, and he's got to do a fig leaf of reversing course. And that's what this mess is today. America, do not be confused by this charade and this sham.
Rich Zioli, weekday afternoons, 3 to 7. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and on the free Odyssey app.
Hey, it's Rich Zioli. As you know, I'm a dad. I got 3 beautiful kids, and I know what dads want for Father's Day. They want memories. They want family time. They want great food. Food around the grill. That's what I love. That's why Omaha Steaks makes it so easy to make dad happy. And you can get packages for dad starting at just $89 when you go to omahasteaks.com and use my promo code Zioli at checkout. That's right. Father's Day is almost here. You got to get cracking on this. Dads don't need another shirt. They don't need another hat. What they want is great steaks. And there are no steaks better than Omaha Steaks because every steak at Omaha Steaks is aged for 28 days. That is how you enhance the steak flavor. Plus, backed by the most unbelievable guarantee in the business. Packages for dads starting at just $89 when you go to omahasteaks.com and use promo code Zioli at checkout. Do it today because Father's Day is almost here and you want to make dad happy. And as a dad, I can tell you we love steak. omahasteaks.com, promo code Zioli.
Hey, are you tired of that old dated kitchen or that bathroom that really needs a new look? Ready for a refresh? You need to give my friends at Kitchen Magic a call. Yeah, they've been transforming spaces quickly, beautifully, and affordably since 1979. From refacing to custom cabinets, backsplash, the counter choices. Yes, you can get a kitchen that you want now. Right now, they're offering 12 months, no payments, no interest financing, plus 10% off your entire remodel. 10% off your remodel. Just schedule your free in-home design consultation today. KitchenMagic.com. KitchenMagic.com. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Contact Tax Relief Helpers for details and restrictions.
Attention, anyone that owes money to the IRS. The IRS has restarted aggressive enforcement actions against taxpayers who owe back taxes that were temporarily suspended for COVID. If you owe $10,000 or more, you must hear this because now is the time to clear your IRS tax debt. A special toll-free number has been established so you can stop penalty fees, avoid liens, levies, or other hostile measures by the IRS. Call Tax Relief Helpers right now at 800-721-4643. Tax Relief Helpers will provide you the maximum protection afforded by law.
I got behind on my taxes and owed $48,000. I didn't know what to do. I called and they got my bill lowered to just $3,500.
I owed $87,000 in taxes and it was scary. I got the amount I owed down to just $3,500. I saved $83,500.
If you owe money to the IRS, don't wait another day. Call 800-721-4643 right now before the IRS enforces liens, levies, or other aggressive measures. The call and consult are absolutely free. Call now. Call 800-721-4643. 800-721-4643. 800-721-4643.
My son loves to fly kites, but my active psoriatic arthritis can sometimes hold me back. Now with Skyrizi to treat my skin and joints, I'm ready to go. Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults, helps with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. For those who also have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible with just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi today and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Don't let woke win. Follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
So your thoughts on Paul Ryan? I know that in the past, whenever he had a book out, a new book, the book sales were really low energy. So is he pushing a book? What's his deal? Why is he speaking out? Do you agree with him? He called it a Republican revolution. Now, let's listen to Trump, and Democrats are playing this audio you're about to hear, putting this up and saying, oh, this is why, Trump they just need to let him rip during the debates, which is coming up in 2 weeks. So let's listen to this clip and get your thoughts on this one.
So I said, let me ask you a question. And he said, nobody ever asked this question. And it must be because of MIT, my relationship to MIT. Very smart. He goes, I say, what would happen if the boat sank from its weight and you're in the boat and you have this tremendously powerful battery and the battery's now underwater and there's a shark that's approximately 10 yards over there. By the way, a lot of shark attacks lately. Do you notice that? A lot of shark. I watched some guys justifying it today. Well, they weren't really that angry. They bit off the young lady's leg because of the fact that they were not hungry, but they misunderstood who she was. These people are crazy. He said there's no problem with sharks. They just didn't really understand a young woman swimming now. It really got decimated, and other people too. A lot of shark attacks. So I said, so there's a shark 10 yards away from the boat, 10 yards, or here. Do I get electrocuted? If the boat is sinking, water goes over the battery, the boat is sinking. Do I stay on top of the boat and get electrocuted? Or do I jump over by the shark and not get electrocuted? Because I will tell you, he didn't know the answer. He said, nobody's ever asked me that question. I said, I think it's a good question. I think there's a lot of electric current coming through that water. But you know what I'd do if there was a shark or you get electrocuted? I'll take electrocution every single time. I'm not getting near the shark.
So this was in Nevada when I guess the teleprompter broke and he started just riffing. It was during a huge rally and he's obviously joking around, tongue in cheek. But of course, it was Mika Brzezinski and Joe Scarborough are saying, oh, he's completely unfit. And then who was the other one? Oh, Nicole Wallace, who betrayed McCain when she helped run the failing McCain campaign. Nicole Wallace, who has a show on one of the loser channels, she called him unhinged and rambling. So if that's all you guys have got, good for you. Good luck with that. I just think that, for him to just riff a little bit and joke about the shark and whatever, because there were that day on Sunday, there were all these reports of shark attacks, and especially in the Florida Panhandle, etc., because the water's warm this time of year, whatever. And so he's just riffing about it for a minute, but you understand he's coherent, number one. You can understand what the heck he's talking about. And so the fact that they would go off and go crazy over that when he has this huge supportive crowd, etc., compared to, unfortunately, President Joe Biden, who half the time you just don't know what he's talking about. He's like, and he's shuffling around, and he has Jill and others who are the handlers. So, but I just want to give you that because that's what they're putting out on social media. Oh, look at Trump. He's unfit. Give me a break. One headline, The New Republic, cognitive decline. Trump short circuits. Was that a short circuit? What do you think? Was that to you? Was that horrible? And oh man, he's lost it. He's lost his marbles. That's what they're saying. And the same group, and even The View, I know they're talking about it. The same group would never call out day to day President Joe Biden, who you cannot even understand. And by the way, the White House has to, we talk about the archives. So the White House always releases the transcripts of every speech, of every event. And they're supposed to honestly put in what President Joe Biden said. They have been caught multiple times. We should do a bit about this. We should do a weekly update on how many times they will correct the record. So they will put something in that he was supposed to say, but that's not what he said. Sometimes he's saying something incoherent. I'm just saying. A second ago I was talking. We have a lot of updates to bring you to. A second ago I was talking about. My kitchen. So nobody really noticed this. I love when I make a change and nobody notices. So I put a big screen TV in the kitchen. Have you ever done this? And then you're amazed. The best one I pulled off, I put the washer and dryer. I had a guy come and he put the washer and dryer in the basement. So I had more room in the mudroom. Nobody noticed for like 6 months. It was awesome. Now Larry comes in the kitchen yesterday, goes, oh, honey, the kitchen looks nice. Oh, you put a new rug under the table. Did not even notice that I put a pretty good sized big screen TV in the kitchen. The reason I did it, now we've held up, we've never done this in our marriage. And I told you we celebrated 24 years of marriage because we love to sit around the kitchen table and we don't want a TV in the kitchen. But here's the thing. I'm cleaning up in the kitchen by myself. And then before I'm cooking in the kitchen by myself. So I should be able to watch TV. Even for me, it's an excuse, show prep. Okay. So that was my excuse. I just thought I'd share that and see, have you done that where you've made a revision to your home, something big, something small, and nobody notices it? Nobody notices. And then who was it in your family who finally noticed? 855-839-1210. We have to talk about the trolley cars making their debut as well, and Jimmy Kelly's childhood. 855-839-1210. Whether you travel by historic trolley cars or maybe a little nicer wheels, summer is upon us. No time like the present to get back out on the roads. My friends at Piazza Premium Automobiles, they're going to help you find that luxury vehicle you've been wanting, and maybe you feel like this is the point where you're going to dump the routine car. I talk about this all the time. I like my Honda Odyssey minivan, which I love. And it's very functional, but I am going to admit it. I covet that some of the vehicles, I'm talking, especially the Maserati. Some of the Maseratis are gorgeous. Porsche, Alfa Romeo. Oh my goodness. These are some of the most beautiful, powerful, sleek vehicles on the road. Mercedes-Benz, Land Rover, Jaguar, BMW. Piazza has thousands of new and certified pre-owned vehicles from these brands. Just visit them, PiazzaPremiumAutomobiles.com. You can stop by one of their many dealerships across Pennsylvania, Delaware, or New Jersey. PIAZZA, PiazzaPremiumAutomobiles.com. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Weather sponsored by Morgan & Morgan.
Another pleasant day across the Delaware Valley with a mix of sun and clouds. High temperature right near average at 82. Tonight, comfortable under mostly clear skies. Low 65 for the city, cooler in the suburbs. And for Thursday, plenty of sunshine, warmer and a bit more humid with a high 88.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Today, we're the largest injury firm in the world, and I'm thankful to you for trusting us all these years. We'll always be here for the people, not the powerful. Injured? The choice is easy. Morgan & Morgan. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
My dad loves Philly sports, and I need a Father's Day gift.
Tickets to see Joe Conklin are the perfect Father's Day gift.
Oh my goodness, it was absolutely wonderful. All the voices and the singing.
And just seeing my dad, seeing the look on my dad's face.
Just the mix of the comedy and the singing. You never knew which way they were going to go with it.
See Joe Conklin with the City Rhythm Orchestra at Wildwood Catholic Academy in North Wildwood, Saturday, June 29, and at the Ocean City Music Pier in Ocean City, New Jersey on Saturday, July 13th. For tickets, go to joeconklin.com. joeconklin.com!
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's business cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp's software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp for free. Just go to ramp.com/250. Ramp.com/250. RAMP.com/250.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
For more than 50 years, Delaware Valley homeowners have called Oliver for their heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical needs. Leaky faucet, clogged drain, Oliver's expert plumbers can handle that. No power, outdated electrical panel, Oliver's licensed electricians can help. No AC, Oliver has same-day service, flexible financing, and the industry's best warranties. For fast service you can trust, call Oliver today or visit online at oliverheatcool.com.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 103.9 FM.
NBA Hall of Famer and bassist for the league's logo, Jerry West, has died at 86. The French Open king Rafael Nadal and reigning champ Carlos Alcaraz will play doubles together for Spain at the Olympics. And animal rights activists vandalized the portrait of King Charles with the head of Wallace from Wallace and Gromit.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more. Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Hey, Clementon. We know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. WPHT.
Updating a national story of this bus hijacking suspect, and there are new details. Atlanta, Georgia. He is a man accused of hijacking a county transit bus in the Atlanta, Georgia area, killing somebody on board, leading officers on that high-speed chase at the scene of then they say that he was actually also at the scene of a mass shooting in downtown Atlanta before that. He's ID'd as 39-year-old Joseph Greer, arrested, facing more than 24 charges related to that situation. And it began with reports of somebody, holding hostages on the bus during the evening rush yesterday. It's here's what the takeaway, and Henry had a good observation as to how they even knew it was happening. Henry, what happened? They were able to type into what? The bus?
Yeah, like on a bus, in the front of the bus, there's that chyron that always says like next stop, so and so, or this is the whatever line. It said call police 911 on the front of it.
So that was brilliant. Probably the bus driver, right, or somebody who could get into that system and do that. Mm-hmm. That was brilliant. Thank God they had the state of mind to do that. And so we know that in downtown Atlanta, there was this shooting in a food court that left 4 people, including the suspect, they said, injured. So they don't know if these were related or what, but there are cameras on the scene. We'll learn more. But in this case, they said they don't know if Greer was involved in that mass shooting that happened at the food court. But in this case, what a wild story that he's accused of holding these people hostage, terrifying moments. And yet there is a news narrative that I must point out, because this happened, this was unfolding right yesterday afternoon. Now, let me ask you, I'll ask you, Henry and Jimmy Kelly, is this individual, I'm sure that he's a white guy wearing a MAGA hat, and that's why we didn't hear much of it all day.
I mean, there's probably a good shot about it, right? I mean,
he's not.
This is a pretty big story. I mean, who hijacks a bus? That's something right out of a movie, and I feel like I've barely heard anything about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the gentleman is not a white guy, nor is he wearing a MAGA hat. But if he were, you can be sure this would have been splattered everywhere last night and all day today. But they're not even leading with it in the news here. So there's that. I just want to point that one out to you. Other stories of the day. What did you want to get to, Henry? I do want to talk about these. I do want to talk about the trolley buses. So don't let the day pass without talking about Jimmy Kelly and his trolley buses. But what other audio did you have, Henry, on your list that you wanted to bring forth?
Well, you were talking about how, the mainstream media pundits were, kind of talking about how Trump can't go off script and, is nothing without his teleprompter, go figure. We have that audio of Mika Brzezinski and Joe kind of complaining about it, if you'd like to take a listen.
Just a little.
Again, it's just like the way we started this show. Trump is literally crazy on stage, and I say it not in a good way. Not well, not fit, not mentally capable of holding together a sentence when his prompter goes down. And yet Biden is constantly covered for being old, but yet travels onto the world stage doing speeches, dinners, important ceremonies,
poops his pants,
recognizing people who suffered and survived D-Day, right, spending time with them, connecting with them.
Enough. You see, and I always liked me. I worked with her at CBS when I worked at Network. I always liked her. I don't know what the heck happened, but those two, when they started working together, they were both married to other people. Now they're married to each other. They also used to be friends with Trump back when he was a celebrity. And back when I think he should send them a bill if they never paid for all the times that they went to Mar-a-Lago, because I don't think they were members. But boy, they seem to be put up. They seem to visit at Mar-a-Lago, stay there, eat, dine with Trump, etc. And they were, they were suck-ups. The minute he became a Republican, and remember Joe Scarborough used to be a Republican congressman from Florida. I don't know what the heck happened to those two. I really don't. It's bizarre, but they're so in the bubble and so into themselves. And I don't understand people who are not true to themselves and they change like that, which says a lot about their character or lack thereof. These are empty vessels. I don't really trust or listen to anything they would say. You know, something sad happened today, and that was that we've learned that Jerry West, iconic. And when you think of, you know, that the fact that we now have word that Jerry West, one of the greatest players in NBA history, built the, 1980 Lakers dynasty as their GM. He died this morning, and his family has confirmed this. So NBA legend Jerry West inspired the league logo. You know when you see the NBA league logo, and it's like blue on one side, red the other side, and a silhouette of a man in the middle? That's his silhouette. And what show was it? Larry and I stopped watching it. What show was it again that we were just talking about? It was like one of those
Winning Time.
Winning Time. Did you watch the whole thing?
I haven't watched any of it personally.
Larry and I started watching it, and then we learned that they said it was a very unfair portrayal, and Jerry West, among others, had said it was a lie. So we stopped watching it. That was our cancel. We said, nope, we're not going to watch it.
Well,
That's
if you watch the show, and I watched it all the way through,
you did.
It seemed like Jerry West used more profanity. I mean, that just seems to be the formula of an HBO show. Just like, drop the F-bomb in anytime you could possibly do it. And they had him portrayed as somebody who just loved to use the F word if you go watch the show.
And so he had pushed back on that, and others who said that the portrayal of him was mean-spirited and false. And so, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't have brought it up on the day that he's reported as this icon, obviously, NBA legend, somebody who was very successful. And I no doubt, wishes and prayers for his family have gone out for many famous former and current NBA players. I want to talk about Ozempic. You know, we hear about Ozempic and Wegovy, these new drugs that Hollywood, everybody in Hollywood reportedly is using them off book, and they're not supposed to, because these are intended for people who are obese or overweight and just cannot lose the weight. And we know that when somebody's closer to their, ideal weight, that inflammation goes away. It's better for your heart health. Type 2 diabetes can be put into remission and really cured with drugs like Wegovy, for example. Well, now there's this study, and I had talked about this a long time ago because I knew there were studies coming out, but that taking these drugs can actually cut in half the risk of being diagnosed with addiction or alcohol use disorder. And so for somebody who could use this medication, especially Ozempic, to my knowledge, that it helps with combating addiction, because it's something that also impacts your brain, and the part of your brain that is the addiction part of your brain. The researchers examining the health records of some 84,000 patients taking, and the generic for this is semaglutide. And these are obesity medications usually. That's the active ingredient, though, semaglutide. And these drugs mimic the GLP-1, the hormone that the body naturally produces after eating to make you feel full and then reduce the cravings, okay? And the study was tracking how many patients were diagnosed with any kind of alcohol abuse disorder, addiction, that sort of thing. It cut the risk by 50 to 56%. So for somebody who's an alcoholic who has gone off and on the wagon, and I don't know if they're doing other drug studies, that is incredible. So if you have that so-called addictive personality, then you may have multiple addictions. They're finding this, and this could be a real miracle drug when we think of perhaps could it help with the opioid crisis, for example, or alcohol addiction. I find this, it's in the journal Nature Communications and New Scientist. Those are a couple of the publications where you can find more of it. But you think of alcohol addiction, and it causes nearly 178,000 deaths every single year in America. That's just alcohol addiction, not other drug addictions. So semaglutide, when you think of that gut health that you hear people talk about, that's the critical nature of gut health. In my opinion, that's a miracle. That's great. But why not teach healthy eating and all of the nutrients and start teaching nutrition in school? Because we're learning more and more that gut health and eating things like, healthy greens and vegetables and that sort of thing, pumpkin seeds, that our health is, and the foods we eat are the medicines we need. And if we start teaching that in school, for example, and teaching kids what we know from countries like Italy, where they believe food is medicine, Native Americans, indigenous people here in America, they taught the Pilgrims that food is medicine. So it's something that, my goodness, if we just taught that to children in schools, had more gardens in schools, and let kids bring home all the greens that they've grown to mom and dad, wouldn't that be a beautiful thing? But one of the reasons that I'm cynical about why we don't do more nutrition education and free gardens in schools is because that's not something that the pharmaceuticals or career politicians or partisans or all of these people, how do they get rich off that? They don't get rich off of that. That's the point. 855-839-1210. Be right back.
Kale and Company, weekday mornings, 6 till 10.
As we honor a veteran on the first Wednesday of every month, Dale Weatherall is with us. Why specifically is mentorship so important for veterans?
A lot of veterans, they sign up at a young age and they're put in situations where they're in a leadership position, they're being mentored, they see how impactful that is in their life. So it's a way to pay it forward.
Dale, thank you so much for your service. It's a pleasure. Dale is a big part of the Travis Manion Foundation.
Start your day with Kale and Company, weekday mornings 6 till 10 on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-688-6641. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call
800-688-6641. That's 800-688-6641.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you. Discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands, at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at Hims, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/joy and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free, with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
Get slimmer for the summer by losing a contractually guaranteed 20 to 40 plus pounds in only 40 days with NJ Diet. Call 855-5NJ-DIET or go to njdiet.com. Get ready for spring with njdiet.com.
Hey, it's Greg with Kale & Company. The NBA Finals are here, and FanDuel, in partnership with Valley Forge Casino, is giving you the chance to win alongside the champions. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets with a winning $5 bet. That's $200 to use on same-game parlays, live bets, and so much more. There's no better place to bet on all the final action than America's #1 sportsbook. All you have to do is go to FanDuel.com/Greg. FanDuel.com/Greg. What are you waiting for to get started and take a shot at an extra $200? FanDuel Sportsbook, the official partner of 1210 WPHT, so you know you're in good hands. FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. 21 and over, President, Pennsylvania. First online real money wager, only $5 deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Listen to Joe Yakovich on The Heart of Your Money, Sunday mornings at 9 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Learn about investing, tax strategies, and more. Joe Yakovich on The Heart of Your Money, Sunday mornings at 9.
Follow Talk Radio 1210 on Instagram and Facebook at 1210 WPHT.
One of my favorite stories of the day, a new Harvard study says aliens might be living among us, disguised as humans, or in a base inside the moon. What are they smoking at Harvard? Aliens, and we're not talking about newcomers or coming over the border. This is a new piece of research that's being released suggesting that extraterrestrials could be living underground or in a base inside the moon. They're talking about UFOs, and they're saying that there may be spaceships visiting Earth and Earth-based alien friends. This is a serious Harvard study, and they say that they could be disguising themselves now as humans to try to fit in. What are they getting? Wasn't this a movie? Wasn't this a Will Smith movie at the time? But they may have come from Earth's future or might have descended from intelligent dinosaurs, because what happened to the dinosaurs? So the study was created to offer an alternate, unconventional explanation for UFO or UAP sightings and to form a hypothesis what they might mean and the possibility that these UAPs may involve forms of non-human intelligence, NHI, that are already present in Earth's environments in some sense that exist alongside us in distinct stealth. So aliens among us, wow. Seriously, what drugs are these people doing? Do you guys believe in aliens? Are they ghosts? Extraterrestrials?
I like to think that aliens exist.
You
And
do?
that if they do exist, yeah, they're already among us. It's either that or it's not at all and we're all alone in this universe. It's kind of like an all or nothing thing. I don't think they're out there like floating around on a spaceship or something just watching us. I think they're here or they're not.
And the Egyptians, remember, believed that aliens were angels.
I have a confession to make.
What?
I'm not from this planet. I'm from far, far away in another in another galaxy. I'm from far, far away. I am not the Jimmy Kelly you all know and love.
From South Philadelphia.
No,
You're not really Where are you from?
I'm from a planet called. Let me see. Let me get my.
Get the map out there.
Can we go to a commercial break here?
Well, let's talk about, because right away we were talking about local stories and a lot of nice reaction about the new trolleys that are retro that are now rolling through the area and reminded Jimmy Kelly of your childhood.
Yes, it
the
did.
green and white.
Yeah, the
They're
green
back.
and white ones. It reminds me of when I was really little. I'd stand out on the corner with my mom. We'd wait for the trolley to show up and go to Center City. And, yeah, they look pretty cool. I like that, like the green and white ones. They used to run on electrical power, and I think the lines were above us. So they would have these antennas that would stick out a lot. Speaking of aliens, by the way. And they would have the antennas that would stick out, and they would be on these tracks, and they would just roll right through there. You know, some of them were on tracks, but other ones used the electric.
And so these historic, the green and cream, kind of a burgundy or red, trim, and at least 8 of those vintage 1947 trolleys were rehabbed. They've been working a long time and back in the route for passengers to use. It's pretty cool, retro design, green and cream paint with some silver wings, central like headlights, rounded white roof, that red kind of burgundy stripe running beneath the windows. So I think I love it.
I wonder if they did that in honor of the Eagles, because it's almost
originally.
That same,
you mean?
I don't know. It's almost that same green color of the Eagles, so maybe that's why they're doing it. Maybe for the Eagles.
Oh, I love that.
I just love that retro look.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing cleaner than that. I wish a lot more car companies and stuff would kind of head more towards back that way, because I mean that style's awesome.
Nice. You know what? I have to interrupt myself here because I just saw this because I talked so much about the school vouchers. There's a headline on NBC 10 that Jay-Z's Rock Nation is now supporting those private school vouchers in Philadelphia. And now with Jay-Z throwing his support behind this effort to fund private school vouchers in Philadelphia, this is huge, huge news. And so they're funding this campaign. And this is something that I think we started out the week talking with a reverend, in the community of black ministers, African-American ministers, and so on, who they've said, hey, we got to have these school vouchers for the poorest performing districts, for children at a certain level of working class and the poorest among us, etc. They want to give these low-income families in neighborhoods with low-achieving schools, they want to give them these vouchers. Man, this tees up an incredible story to watch here in Pennsylvania, because the House just voted for this huge, biggity-big, multi-million-dollar package. Sherelle Parker, the mayor, she has come out and says we deserve more than $1 billion. And now here you have these individuals like Jay-Z now supporting the voucher program. This is controversial because, of course, the teachers union leadership does not want this. I've done a lot on this, and you can go to Beth Ann Rossica, Broad and Liberty. She has a whole study about this, but this is huge news, not great news for Democrats, but it is wonderful news for children here in Philadelphia and their families, as well as Pennsylvania. Dom Giordano, a longtime educator, I know that you will have a lot on this, as well as so much of what's going on today.
Yes, Dawn, thank you, and thanks for bringing that up on your show. But Meek Mill, also called out by Kendra Brooks, Meek Mill in favor of this. In Philadelphia, arguably even bigger than Jay-Z.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, it's happening.
Huge.
So we're going to talk with Pam Bondi, former Attorney General in Florida today, about Hunter Biden. And Dawn, I'd lead off with Hunter Biden. Again, the narrative he puts out there in the Bidens, this all started because of the death of Beau Biden. This Beau Biden guy is one of the greatest guys in history, given his life story. And both Bidens, I think, weaponize it and use it whenever they need to.
Amen. Great Dom show coming right up.
Countless financial firms have promised that